Oh, you're recording on me. Yeah, see you. Yeah.
So just to start off, if you could just tell us a bit about the event this weekend.
So this weekend is the Erne Fours, which is obviously quads and fours. And it's kind of one of the bigger heads of the river, just because I think it's one of the one where it's, I suppose, the good competition where you go up there and it reflects kind of some of the best crews in the country, I'd say. So it's a time trial that we're bringing all our girls to try see if we can, win against some of the best crews, especially up in the north, I think.
And can you talk to us a bit maybe about the course as well?
So it is I think it's 6K, but it's an interesting course. It has a lot of kind of twists and turns. I coxed there last year, and there's some challenging bits for crews, especially kind of the younger crews now, their first time going out into a course like this. There's a big bend there that will be challenging for some of the crews getting around it, trying to make sure they're not losing time in it. But it is a really good course, especially with water. I suppose in Limerick we can have a lot of rough conditions, but it's pretty standard up there. They have good conditions, so it's going to be a nice one to see on the day what the times are like, I think.
Definitely. And when did you become involved in rowing yourself?
So I would say I've kind of been involved my whole life, because it's kind of a family thing. So one of those. But I first got involved myself when I was about 12 years old, and I started rowing at St. Michael's Rowing Club in Limerick. And I've kind of just kept going since then. So I rowed competitively myself for maybe 6 years. And then I started helping out with the summer camps every summer during college, and eventually kind of got reeled back in the last few years to start coaching the girls. So I started with the Learn to Row girls, and then I have kind of kept on with them for the last 2 years in academy, and now kind of up to Division 2, Division 1. So I've kind of just gone full-fledged coach now, unintentionally, but now I'm enjoying it, so it's good.
And can you talk to us a bit about the athletes that you are coaching at the moment?
So I'm coaching girls at the moment, all girls in the club. It's kind of a system where I'm mostly coaching Division 2 girls in the club, but we kind of train a lot with the Division 1 and the academy, so we do kind of switch coaches around a bit. So I'm across all the groups, but a lot of the times with the Division 2. So mostly kind of junior 15 to junior 17 girls. And just going along with them every week and trying to get them prepared for events like Erne.
Very good stuff. And what kind of efforts have you kind of seen in the club maybe to kind of grow women's teams?
So I think one of the most important things that we do in the club, but I think in rowing in general, is that it is a very good sport in trying to have a gender balance. So I found a lot that it was never a case of the boys getting this and the girls not get any of it, or seeing, only boy success. Like, you have the girls, I think we try promote so much like what is happening in rowing Ireland as well. So, seeing the girls even at the Olympics, like, we were obviously pushing that all the time, but it's trying to show the girls that there is that possibility, and that is happening for girls as well. We just try to keep everything fair. We do it, if the boys get the morning session, the girls get the morning session the next time. If the boys get the boats, the girls get them. We just try to keep it from captain all the way down committee, just fair in all ways, and that they get the same session, they get the same equipment, and just trying to make sure that, I suppose, there's a lot of things in girls rowing that maybe the boys don't have to take into account, whether girls are training at certain times a month. And, I think sometimes you have girls who are feeling like they don't want their body to appear as really strong and muscular, whereas boys love that. So it's trying to get that mentality. We're just trying to always encourage the girls, we want to be big, but strong and fit, and making sure that we're, I suppose, promoting a healthy way of training and wanting them to be strong, and say that that's a good thing, and showing them, the big strong girls whatever on Instagram, and showing them, okay, you know, you can be like that and it's not a bad thing. So I think it's a club-wide approach in that we just take it as, you know, there's no ifs and buts. They're both treated equally, and I think that's something that we've done really well in our club.
Definitely. And, you know, Irish rowing is obviously on such a high, and there has been so much success from female rowers. What do you think of like the importance of having those role models?
I think, like, even myself, when I was rowing, there wasn't much of that. Like, there was no female coaches in the club. We didn't have a single one of those. There was no like watching, you know, well, sorry, not none, but there wasn't as many women's crews and stuff. You have obviously, you know, Sinead Jennings, and we always looked up to her because she was from our club. But you never had those big crews, I suppose, of the girls that we would have seen in junior rowing and then now going up to race at things like the Olympics. So I think it's really important that now we have those role models, whereas just it wasn't a thing, I suppose, in the past. We didn't see women's rowing, we weren't seeing them, you know, maybe up in the wall of the championships as much, whereas now we're looking up, we're seeing pictures, or the girls are seeing pictures now of the girls up there as well. They're seeing, you know, the girls standing on the podium, whether it's at the Europeans or the Olympics. You know, you have so many good crews now that they're literally following on every time, and they're telling me, like, did you see that race from, you know, Sunita, or did you see Aoife Casey racing that in the Skull? You know, they're looking at it and they're seeing all that, I suppose, representation that back, you know, a few years ago we wouldn't have seen as much. Even if we did have one women's race, you know, now we have loads to watch, you know, and watch out for. So I think it's just showing them that this could be you know, whereas normally they might have seen it as a bit unattainable. And when they have some coaches as well that are also female, they say, oh, okay, I can be involved in rowing when I'm older. Maybe not all the time as an athlete if they don't want to, but as a coach or as a committee member or something like that as well.
Absolutely. And this weekend is sure to be a good event for them all to be looking at.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Laura. That was great. And best of luck at the weekend.
Thank you so much. Hopefully see you up there.
So Shane, you're the coach with St. Michael's. Can you tell me a bit about how you got involved?
Yeah, well, I suppose I've been a member of St. Michael's for a long time, and my daughter joined when she was 12, and so I started to help out a little bit, and then slowly just got a little bit more involved. And she's junior 18 now, so for the past 6 years, then I myself and a few other coaches, some parents, some not parents, we have a good mixed group of male and female coaches have been involved in coaching the junior girls squad in St. Michael's. So we brought them through now up to junior 18, and actually we have some 17 and 16-year-olds in the group as well. So yeah, so they're a mighty group, and that's how I got involved. And yeah, it's a good setup.
And can you give us a bit of insight into the kind of current setup with the women's teams in terms of participation?
Yeah, well, we've had very good participation over the past couple of years. What we do is we start off with a learn to row group, and so we bring in youngsters in small groups, maybe 10 or 12, and we just show them some basic skills and fitness and movement and stuff like that, and introduce them to a little bit of rowing in the water. And then if they want to progress, then they can come into a kind of an academy setup that we have, which is made up of 13 and 14-year-olds. And usually we have 20, 25 plus girls in that side of things. And then they progress then onto what we would call Division 2 or into Division 1. And that would be right up to junior 18. So we have approximately about 80 girls in the junior rowing program at the moment, I'd say. Anything between 70 to 80, and we're looking to recruit at the moment again, yeah.
Good stuff. And how have you kind of seen participation of kind of female rowers grow from maybe when you began with the club to now?
Oh yeah, well definitely, like in my time in the club, like I suppose the big difference I noticed is that like over the past maybe 10 years, we always had some girls squads, but there'd be pockets in between where you mightn't get as many coming through the following year. Whereas now for the past 5 or 6 years, like every year, as I said there, like we have a good steady recruitment process going on. So every year there's new girls coming into the club. And what's good as well is sometimes we have girls that are a little bit older, like, you know, 14, 15, 16, that might come in and take on to the sport a little bit later. even though that's very young, but you know, if you've everyone starting at 13 and 15 and 16 can seem a little bit older to some girls. So yeah, so definitely recruitment has improved, and particularly I suppose there's more exposure now to rowing, and particularly more exposure to women's rowing as well, and the success of the Irish women's team is great. So it's kind of inspiring, I think, to the younger girls that do get into the club and then they get a bit familiar with it.
No, absolutely. You know, Irish rowing is on such a high, and there has been such great success from female athletes, and even in your own club, there's some really good athletes for the young ones to look up to. How important do you think it is for them to have those kind of role models, not just in Ireland but in their own club?
Yeah, it is very important. Like, you know, I believe it's critical, really. Like, you know, we're lucky as well in the club. Like, we've had some very successful women's crews in the past, and very successful women's athletes as well, right up to Sinead Lynch, obviously going to Olympic level, and then right throughout a number of really successful women's athletes, but also a lot of just women participating in the sport. We have a very large recreational women's rowing group as well, and then we have a lot of girls that come through. So I just think it's really important for the younger girls to see women, other girls, their friends out rowing, being active at all levels of rowing. You know what I mean? You don't have to be the top athlete either. You can be just participating, and that also. So it shows that there's a kind of a place for you in the sport, regardless maybe of your ability, I'd say. That's pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And what are your kind of thoughts on the course this weekend, and how your crews are set for it?
Yeah, I think we've had a good autumn. They've trained hard. They're a dedicated bunch. We have a junior 14 quad, so it's a big deal for them to be young that age, going up there. It's a long course. We have a 15 quad, but they're both quite experienced groups, even if they're very young. And then we have a junior 18-4 and a junior 18B4. And we could have brought a lot more girls, but we just didn't have the boats, you know. There's a lot of good girls back at the club as well. So some of the older ones have rowed it before. They really like it. It's a really exciting course to race. You've got long straight stretch, but then you've got the twists and the bends coming into town, other crews, good spectators on the bank, and you get a good chance to measure yourself against everybody that's there. All, you know, usually very good standard there. So yeah, we travel up. It's a bit of a distance, but we really enjoy the head, and it's a really good atmosphere, and the lads in Enniskillen are very welcoming as well. So that's good.
Absolutely. It's sure to be a good weekend. Thank you so much for your time, and the best of luck.
No worries. Cheers. Thank you very much. Best of luck with your role there.
Hi, I'm Neve. I rowed as a junior in Neptune, and now I'm in final year in Trinity. I'm Laura. I rowed as a junior in New Ross, and I'm also in final year in Trinity.
So do you know how many times you've done Erne head yet?
Probably a good few, because I raced when I was junior, and then obviously in Trinity, COVID kind of put a stop on it, I suppose, but yeah, a good few times. Yeah, I've actually only been here with Trinity, so this is my third time doing it.
Have you any words of wisdom for people that are setting out for doing it for the first time?
If you're steering, just make sure you know the course, because it is quite a windy course and the flow can be quite heavy, especially this time of the year. So just, yeah, make sure you know the course if you're steering, and I suppose listen to your cocks as well, because there's a few 90-degree bends, so there might be a bit of kind of adjusting, so yeah. That's right.
It's a 6k race, and regattas are usually about 2 kilometres, so what's it like racing at this time of the season?
At this time of the season it's definitely a bit harder, because we're not used to getting the rate up that high, but over 6k we want to be rating high anyways, so we just need to kind of, you know, get through it. 6k is a long way.
Yeah, I suppose like the winter training is a little bit different anyway, so our like training is a lot of long distance kind of. You also get this mad rush of adrenaline when you do a head race that you think you're not going to be able to do the rates, but they just kind of come, so you kind of just have to trust the training that you've done for the last kind of few months and hope that it kicks in.
How's the training with the squad going so far? I hear there's about 40 athletes this year.
Yeah, it's excellent. As you can see, there's so many boats down this morning, and we were all down at 6:15, so it's great to see so many people down so early, and like we're all training together as a squad, so it's really good at the moment.
Yeah, it's really nice to kind of have the other boats working against each other as well. Like, it's always nice to have a few races between ourselves.
you're in a U23 boat each, so you'll be racing against each other at the weekend.
Yeah, against each other, and we're both steering, so it's going to be who can steer the best.
I think we've been racing against each other since we were like 16. So
Yeah, we're still in the same club, but now we're racing against each other.
What's it like having that kind of internal competition? So obviously the two of you are in two Cox's fours in the under 23 category, and then there's 3 other crews out racing. So I think there's an intermediate 4 and then 2 club fours. And what's that like? Everyone being together to push each other on and just be competitive.
I suppose it's just really nice, like, although it is a competition and it's like a constant kind of proving yourself, but at the same time it just brings everyone up. So like it's a constant kind of, oh, we didn't win this one, but let's beat them in the next one. It's like, you know, you can really kind of work towards that.
So you've 40 kind of on your senior squad. What's the novice program going like this year?
Yeah, again, they're actually like down the same time as us in the mornings. They're opposite to us, where they erg kind of when we'd be out on the water, and then they do circuits during the week as well, and then they come down on the weekends to go out in the tub. So like again, there's a big squad of them, and they seem to be kind of, we're actually after moving I think 10 or 11 up to kind of a senior sort of development stage, so they're kind of starting to do endurance weights with us.
You both rowed juniors, so what was that transition like for anyone that might be watching and be interested in rowing at university?
Well, when I was rowing junior, I was a scholar, so it's a lot different. I was on my own, so it's a lot different to coming down to where there's 40 athletes coming in at 6:30 in the morning or 6:15. So it's nice just to have that squad training compared to what it was like when I was a junior.
Yeah, I suppose I was kind of the same sculling as well, so, and a really, really small club, so to come to that bigger one's really, really nice. But I think the biggest difference is kind of the squad session, so like coming and everyone erging together, everyone doing weights together, so it's really, really nice in that sense.
Who were your role models growing up?
Oh, that's a good question. I think when I was rowing when I was a junior, there's Sunita Fusker that was doing really well, and when we'd be down rowing in the NRC or doing camps or trials and all, she'd always be down there. And like I remember one time we were like all in the change rooms getting changed, and she was like, you should all have a shower, like it's freezing outside, like even though we had another session. And like she was always like, you know, giving us a bit of advice even if she was just like in the background. So I think she was always a bit of an inspiration.
Yeah, definitely same. I would also say kind of the lightweight double, like Aoife and Mags at the time as well, they were always kind of a year or two ahead of us, so kind of looking up to them, and even I suppose pushing towards them as well was always kind of in our minds at trials.
And what about the success of Irish rowing at the moment?
Oh, it's great. It's definitely bringing a lot more people into the sport. When you're coaching the novices, there's a huge like interest in joining rowing, and then even coaching in skills that I do sometimes, like people know a lot more about the sport, so it's really bringing us on like as a sport.
Yeah, more people know about it, so it's less of a, oh, I did
canoeing.
rowing once, yeah, like oh no, that's kayaking. Yeah, so it's less of a kind of a need to explain what rowing is, and they're just more of a kind of an understanding now, which is nice.
So hi Gina, thanks for speaking to us. So this weekend is Erne Head and the crews are set to go. You were a winner last year in the senior quad. Can you talk to us about the race and about the course?
Yeah, so I suppose anyone that's raced Erne Head knows that it's a long, challenging course. And yeah, we were lucky to race it last year after a few years of not being able to race and things being cancelled and stuff. So yeah, I mean, we raced the senior quad, and so this is the fours head, obviously, so it's all fours and quads and stuff. And yeah, it is a challenging race. Like there's tough steering required, as would be coxed. Because I raced it before as well as a junior in a quad too. So I've raced it a few times, but it definitely doesn't get easier. I mean, the steering obviously is a challenge, but the length of the course kind of early on in the year is tough too. And yeah, there's a need for a sprint at the end too. So yeah, it's a good course though.
And what's the event like? I imagine like it's really good for experience, but what's it like as an event for you?
Yeah, I think it's a really good event. Like, I mean, there's clubs from all over, like being up in Enniskillen. It brings clubs from Dublin, I've raced it with Galway, NUIG, and I've raced it with Carlo. So it kind of brings clubs from all over, which is good. And then, yeah, it's good to get, good racing early in the year against a lot of the crews that you're going to be racing all year. So it's a really good event. Yeah, it's really well organized too, and it's often quite cold and wet, but it's always still a good day out. So yeah, no, it's good.
And there's a good range as well of kind of beginners and experienced rowers. Yeah,
definitely. I think, like I said, I've raced as junior, so there's such a range from junior athletes to college athletes and club level athletes. It's such a mix, but it's really well run, and it's always organized well, so it usually runs pretty smoothly. So yeah, no, it's a good event to go to, definitely.
And just a bit about your own background then, like how long have you been rowing?
Yeah, so I started rowing when I was 12 in Carlow Rowing Club. So I rowed there all through school, so through secondary school up until leaving cert. And I suppose, yeah, that's where I learned everything and got a love for rowing, I suppose. And then from there I joined NUI Galway, University of Galway now, for university, and I was there for 5 years. And I had a brilliant time there as well. And then, yeah, now I've moved to Cork. I have a job now in UCC, so I'm currently rowing with UCC. So I've been rowing quite a while, but it's all been good. So.
And you mentioned there you were rowing with NUIG, and you had a lot of success at national championships with them. Was it great to end on such a high?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I mean, like I said, I've been in NUIG for 5 years and competing at the champs and other international events. Like they've always had great success, but yeah, particularly the past few years and this year in particular, like it was a brilliant showing for the club, and I had always been looking to win the senior eights, and that finally came this year. So it was a nice end to it all. And yeah, the club as a whole just did brilliantly and came together so well. So yeah, we were very lucky. Yeah.
Definitely. And now you're rowing down in UCC, as you said. What was the move to that new club like?
Yeah, it was great. Like, I mean, like everyone is so lovely in rowing in Ireland in general. It's a small community, so you'd know a lot of the people anyway, and from trials and different races, everyone gets to know each other really. So I found it quite an easy transition that way. Everyone's so friendly and yeah, so easy to get on with and stuff. So it was a pretty smooth change. So yeah, I'm happy now. And the club is great here in UCC too. It's great coaches too, Sunita and Dave Green are coaching. So and Martin Claban. So we're in good hands, I think. So it's great. They've got a great squad building up now as well. So there's good numbers too, which is great.
Definitely, and having Sunita Paspur and coaching and many of the national team being involved in UCC over the past few years, what's that like?
Yeah, it's brilliant. Like having Sunita, like with all her experience and everything, it's brilliant. Like she's someone that I think most Irish rowers would have looked up to, and she really paved the way for Irish female rowing, especially internationally and stuff. So I think having her around and having her coaching is just brilliant. Like it, she's so encouraging and she has such a wealth of knowledge and experience that it's bound to bring on any team for sure. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. She's an amazing role model to have. When you were growing up, then what kind of role models did you have?
I suppose, well, Sunita, as I said, but I mean, growing up like in rowing, I found most of my role models kind of coming from people around me. I suppose people in your club or people you're training with. Even now, I find people I look up to are people that I train with, and you see how hard they work and how they achieve what they achieve and stuff like that. And everyone on the Royal Ireland team at the moment and the lightweight double, although they're my friends, I look up to them so much, and all the hard work that they put in. And I know, I suppose with the program that her sport are running at the moment too, with the Do It For Her kind of campaign, like it really shows that you know, like Irish females and young girls like really need to have visible role models. And I suppose maybe that was something we didn't have as much because things weren't as visible, you know. So I think it's a really strong campaign, and I think it really, you know, highlights that there should be more visibility for female role models. So yeah, I think it's really important kind of to have that, so young girls can have an answer when they're asked that question, you know, who is their role model. So yeah, I think it's good.
Definitely, and thanks for that. Do you think compared to maybe when you were growing up, you've seen an improvement in visibility for women in sport? And although, like, you know, like what we saw in that video was kind of, you know, I was personally shocked, you know, sometimes that they didn't know, you know, who Katie Taylor or something. But do you think that there has been an improvement even since when you were maybe 11 or 12?
Yeah, I suppose in a way, yeah, but in also other ways, you know, there definitely is more room for improvement. Like I know, like you mentioned, Katie Taylor, like that when she won in 2012, that was like a big standout moment for me. That, like, you know, was kind of the highlight of female sports in my mind, which, you know, I was 12 or 13 at the time. So I feel like that was maybe the first time that I saw someone, you know, a female, so kind of in the limelight, I suppose. And I think even still, like there is room for improvement. Like I know when Katie O'Brien won her medal just this year, there was a front page spread, and, you know, she was on the front page, yeah, but it was a tiny picture, and there was a big half-page picture of whatever it was, the men's soccer team, and they hadn't done anything. They were just deciding their team for next weekend or something. So I think based on that and, you know, other things, like there is room for improvement. And, you know, even looking at the sports newspaper, like all you have to do is open it to see that, you know. And yeah, visibility it's such a big thing. But yeah, I think it still can be improved, and I think it is. So it is getting better, but I think, yeah, there is still more room for improvement. I think on local levels, it's definitely got a lot better. Like there's a lot more participation, obviously, in female sports. And I know when I was growing up, you know, there wasn't like women's soccer teams or women's football teams. And now my sisters, who are maybe 7 or 8 years younger than me, they're involved in everything, all the women's soccer and football teams. So it definitely is, it is improving and changing that way, for sure.
Definitely, yeah. You personally have represented Ireland at an international level, including a win at under-23 European Championships and setting an under-23 world record. So what does that kind of mean to you when you hear that again?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah, it's good. I mean, it's something I'm proud of, like, you know, and representing Ireland is obviously, you know, something that I always dreamed of. And, you know, if someone told me that when I was 15 or 16, that, you know, this is what you'll do when you're whatever, 22, 23, you know, I probably wouldn't have believed them, you know, because, you know, you set goals every year and this and that, but until you just do it, you never really believe that you would be able to do it. You know, even when I first went to the under-23 World Championships, we raced in a lightweight double, and even being there was something that was kind of surreal to me. And then we finished fourth, myself and Aoife Casey, and like at the time it was a disappointing result for me, but looking back and even a week after, I realized, you know, like if I had even imagined myself being there, I probably wouldn't have believed it. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's obviously, yeah, growing up, it's something that you look to do, but obviously it's the outcome. It's not the that's the outcome of all the training and everything. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed everything along the way. So I think that's the most important part for me, because I know even you don't really talk about your wins and your successes. You know, it's all the adventures and travels you have along the way. So I think us Irish people are kind of too modest to talk about our successes anyway. So yeah.
Absolutely. You also just completed your first marathon, and how was that?
Yeah, it was great. It was a nice change, I suppose. I mean, I've rode, like I said, since I was 12, and in the off season, kind of after summer, it was something that I had on my mind and I'd always wanted to do. So yeah, I set out to do it there in Galway in September, and it was a great experience. I loved it. I mean, I set out just to finish it, and that was my main goal, and I wasn't worried about pace or this and that. But as soon as I finished it, then I think I want to to better it again. So yeah, no, it was a great experience.
And how was the preparation for different, maybe preparing for a rowing race?
I suppose it was a lot more personal. I mean, you know, I decided to do it on my own. It was something that I had always wanted to do. So it was a lot more kind of training on your own, and, you know, having that motivation to get up and go for the runs and the long runs on your own. Which is something I probably realized that I rely on my teammates a lot, you know, when training in the rowing. And you know, anyone that trains on their own machines knows that it's so much easier just having someone beside you. So yeah, with the running, it was a lot different. But it was something I really enjoyed. You know, I found myself in a bit of a rut after all the success over the summer and champs and stuff. So it was my way of getting back training, was to start training for the marathon and having my own kind of personal goal to focus on. So yeah, it was something I really enjoyed, and I would really recommend.
Super, and well done. That's a great achievement. And you're heading down to Skibbereen now this weekend, is it?
Yes, yeah, we're racing Skib Head. It's on here in Cork, so racing that with UCC. So I'll be racing the senior scull and the intermediate 8 with UCC. So yeah, really looking forward to it and getting some more racing done. So yeah, hopefully it'll be a good event too.
Super. Thank you so much, Cliona, for taking time to speak.
Not at all.
And best of luck.
Hi, I'm Sally O'Brien and I'm a coach at Trinity Ladies Boat Club.
So Sally, when did you start coaching with Trinity?
Only this year. So I actually rowed with Trinity from 2012 to 2016 and then lived over in the UK for a bit, and now I'm back, moved back to Ireland in September, so back coaching now with the girls.
And did you start rowing in Trinity, or did you row as a junior before?
No, rowed as a junior, so rowed over in Neptune Rowing Club, so started there when I was 13 or so, and then 4 or 5 years there, and then over the hedge, or over the river even to Trinity. I've been in it for too well. I stopped rowing a couple of years ago, but got involved in coaching then, so I've never really taken a break from the sport, been in it for a long time.
We are going to be going to Erne Head, so talk to us a bit about that. Do you remember the last time that you did Erne Head?
The last time I did Erne Head was probably 2015, I think, for the 8th head, and we actually set the course record, which was nice, and I had totally forgotten about it until someone reminded the other day. So yeah, it was a really miserable, bleak, windy, rainy day, but the best type of experiences as well when you get out there and everyone really enjoying it. So it doesn't matter what the conditions are like, good rowing is good fun.
In terms of the course, have you any top tips or best advice for people that might be taking it on this weekend?
Oh, just go out and attack it. It's a long race. You don't want to leave it to the last kind of 2k to make your move. I'd recommend everyone to just go out and really attack that first 2k stretch. Then you've got a bit of bends and wiggles in the river that will kind of distract you from how much you're having to work and how much you're having to push, and then when you're kind of on the home stretch after you get through all those bends, to just make sure that you've actually kind of just gone out, put your mark out there before that point, and then just take on the last bit of the race.
And what's the event like in terms of getting experience?
Oh, it's brilliant. Like, you'll have all different levels of crews out rowing. You'll be racing against probably people who are going to win senior championships in the coming national championships. So you've kind of got every opportunity to go out there and see how quick you are against the rest of the crews in Ireland. It's a really great entry this year, particularly from a university perspective. There's lots of universities. We've got Galway, UCD entered, meaning that it's really good competitive racing. So yeah, no harm in just going out and seeing what state you're in at this time of the year. There's lots of time in the season left, so just go out and give it a go, see where you can get.
This is a head race, so talk to us a little bit about the difference between a head race and a regatta.
Yeah, so head races are time trial style races, so everyone rows up to the start. You're given a race number and you go off in the order of your race number. So what they'll do is there'll be a starter at the start, they'll tell you to spin, get ready to go, and then they pretty much send the crew off one by one, chasing each other. Whereas in a regatta, it's slightly different format, so depending on how many boats are racing or how many lanes there are on the course, you could be rowing side by side with potentially up to 6 boats, where you're all in a line at the start, and the starter will say go for everyone at the same time. It does seem easy, but you kind of just have to stick in your own boat. Best thing is to just focus on your race plan, regardless of if there's crews chasing you or you're chasing a crew or you're side by side with a crew. You just have to stick with what you know and how you can perform your race plan. Yeah, so we have 5 fours racing. So we've got an intermediate cox 4, 2 under 23 coxes and 2 club 4s. So we're kind of restricted by the number of boats we have. So we had to leave a few people in Island Bridge. We probably could have had about 8 or 9 fours out with the group we have this year. But we've brought 5 up, and hopefully they'll have a good race, see how they get on.
In terms of rowing in Ireland, it's at an all-time high. We've had some really, really good results, particularly from the women's side. Have you seen this reflected in the number of people subscribing to be involved in rowing in Trinity?
Oh, definitely. Like when I was rowing 10 years ago now, in Trinity we used to have maybe a panel of 20. This season, or since September, we've had up to kind of 48, 50 people down every weekend, and coming down for all of the midweek sessions as well. So it's a big uplift in rowing. It's great to see that many women in rowing. I think it's testament to how well our women's squad, high performance squad, have been doing, and equally just how well the clubs themselves have been publicising the sport. The results that a lot of the clubs are getting, all of the women's crews in Ireland, you can see the national championship records and times getting quicker and quicker. The sport is evolving, and we're keeping up with it. Over in the UK, rowing is a massive sport. There was lots of women's crews, and it's great to see that the Irish crews are as competitive, if not beating, the crews over in England. And on the numbers perspective, we've similar numbers of particularly women in the sport, which is really great to see.
But you're also running a novice program here, so how's the novice program going? When will their first race be, or have they raced already?
They haven't raced yet, but it's going really well. I mean, we had kind of near to 100 people signing up. How we run the program is that they come down and do a lot of land-based training to learn, I guess, the movement of rowing and what you need to do. So a lot of stuff on the rowing machines. We'd also do a lot of fitness stuff to make sure that they get up to a decent enough fitness level to be able to sustain what they need to do on the water. And yeah, they're learning on the water as well. So they're out kind of during the week and on weekends to make sure they learn. Their first race, probably, it could be this side of Christmas, but it just depends on what races go ahead. But they'll definitely be starting to race early in the new year, probably at some head races, and then the big first race for them on the side-by-side race is the colours boat race with UCD. So they'll race in the Sally Moorhead Trophy, or race for the Sally Moorhead Trophy, which UCD won last year, so Trinity are really gearing up to try and get that back this year.
In terms of rowing, what are some of the obstacles that women are still facing, and how do you think we can overcome them?
I think there's so many sports, and sometimes maybe this is a general thing and not just specific to women, but you have so many sports, and I think there can be a drive, particularly say when you go to university, to try something new. Sometimes rowing benefits from that because not many people will have tried it before, but equally you can see, and we've found that there's other sports that sometimes take over. I think we're getting better in terms of like keeping women in the sport, and I think we've developed a good culture here in Trinity, and other clubs have too, to make sure that they keep women in the sport. But I guess it's not a bad thing. We've got loads of sports that people want to try do, but making sure that they stick with the sport. The other thing I'd probably say is sticking with it after they leave university. So I found when you start a job, priorities take over, and for some reason it's not a problem with men to stay with their sports, but often you find a big drop off with women, and that's probably one of the biggest things I've noticed, particularly when you see girls finishing and you don't see them then for a few years while they figure out
What's
career
next?
and all that sort of stuff.
So you mentioned that you rowed at Cambridge. Tell us, what was that experience like?
Oh, it's brilliant. Yeah, Cambridge is it was kind of a whirlwind experience. Like, you're over there with, the year I moved over, I was lucky I had a fellow Irish woman over there. Claire Lamb was there my first year, so it was nice to have an Irish accent floating around as well. But the thing with Cambridge is very kind of international experience. You've got a lot of people travelling from kind of all over the world to come and study in Cambridge, but also do rowing while they're there.
So we had a real mix of people from the States, from New Zealand, from Australia, all of which who've done a lot of rowing before, and you're kind of learning from what they've done. It's a big step up. It was a different style of rowing, not too different in terms of training, but different style of rowing which took a while to get used to. But it's totally changed my perspective of rowing, and how you can approach it, how you can attack your training. And yeah, I think hopefully it's something that I could bring back to the girls now in coaching, get them to hopefully one day beating the Cambridge crews, because they do like to come over here and race over in Ireland as well from time to time.
I hear you swapped the oar and you're playing a bit of Aussie reels at the moment, is that right?
Yeah. How'd you find all this out? I was playing a bit of, so I used to, I did a lot of Gaelic football before I started rowing when I was younger, and there's quite a lot of transferable skills, ball skills and stuff with Aussie rules and Gaelic football. So when I stopped rowing, I really needed a team sport, particularly in Cambridge. Everyone is really active, and I'm sick of running out on my own and going cycling on my own. So yeah, joined a Gaelic football team over there and the Aussie rules team, and yeah, it was a great experience. I haven't got back into it now since I've moved back to Ireland, but was big into the sport. Had been to Australia a few times, so really liked the sport. And then it's tough going though. It's hardy stuff. You just get hit all the time. So rowing is you're a lot more protected on a rowing boat compared to being tackled on a Aussie rules pitch. But yeah, good sport to try out, definitely.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Sally, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Good morning to everyone that is tuning in today to catch the action at Erne. So today you're with Niamh Talon from her sport and Niamh Hayes, who has done some international commentary on the world rowing stage. Niamh, welcome to the live stream today.
Thank you so much, Niamh. So delighted to be here in Enniskillen for the Erne Fours Head. Yes, I've been at a few world rowing events. My background is in coastal rowing, so this is very different now for me. I've dabbled a little bit in flat water rowing, but this is all very new. But I can't get over the crowd here already this morning. It is freezing cold. We're shivering here with the cold, but it's great to see such a big crowd here. And you actually raced here last year, was it? How did you find the course? And like it's 6K, isn't it?
Yeah, so I had actually done the race last year, and would have been one of the lucky or unlucky, depends what way you view it, people to have been steering the course. So we had a little bit of a trick last year. We actually printed out the course map and I stuck it on the back of the person in front of me. So I suppose for anyone that isn't that familiar with rowing, the crews are going backwards. I would have been steering a coxless quad, so we would have been racing backwards, so you have to kind of throw your head over your shoulder to make sure that you're taking the bends okay, and to make sure that you're not crashing into, I suppose, the riverbank or any other crews that you might be racing against. I suppose on that today we'll have some coxed and coxless crews. So in terms of the coxless crews, as we've kind of been describing there, they will be crews where the athletes are actually steering. So your back will be, I suppose, the direction that you're going, and you have to look behind you to see, to check the course and make sure that you're going the right direction. And the people steering the coxless crews will have steering attached to their toes. So they'll have the control of the tiller there to control the boat. For any of the coxed crews, there'll be somebody sitting in the front of the boat. We'll probably see mostly bow loaders today, so sitting in the front, and they will have a handle to do the steering there, and they'll be making all the calls for the crews with them. So we see some boats today, as it's a fours head, that will have 4 people in them, and some that we will have 5 where they have a cox involved as well. So a bit of a windy course, but look, there's enough space to make sure that you're steering it properly. I suppose the most thing to be conscious of is as you are coming up on other crews, to make sure that you avoid them, don't clash or don't crash into them. We don't want anybody unhappy with anybody steering. But it's great today. As you said, it's a little bit chilly, but the first event up we should see is the senior coxless senior coxless quad. So we have 6 crews entered in this today.
Great stuff. It sounds really interesting, and I think that foot steering would actually come in very handy in the coastal boats, unfortunately, when you're out in there by yourself in a single and it's a 4K course around a load of boys. You're constantly looking around and steering through just by your oars basically, and going harder on one side. So really looking forward to seeing how the crews navigate the course here today. As you said, lots of bends, lots of windy bends here on this 6 kilometre course. So racing kicked off at 11 o'clock. So the first crews are well into it. It's about 17 minutes past now, so they're well into their race now. We have 57 women's entries across the morning, across 17 categories. So lots of crews from clubs from all over Ireland. It's great to see such a great entry here this morning. So I believe, do they start maybe like every 10 or 15 seconds here, or what's kind of the distance between boats at the start?
Yeah, so that's about the gap between each crew. So first up we'll have NUIG from Galway, which will be the coxless crew. So they were led off first with Commercial behind them, followed by Belfast Boat Club, Queen's, Neptune and Belfast Boat Club B. So they're the first crews that'll be racing. So NUIG will be led off first, and they'll be trying to be chased down by bow number 2, which will be Commercial, and so on and so forth. So in the Galway boat we have Aoife Lowe, Shauna Murtagh, Ava Benson and Lauren McCarthy Steele. So Lauren McCarthy Steele is originally from Skib. She competed in the Coupe in Cox's Quad in 2021. And she also competed in Junior World in 2022 and came third in a B final in women's coxless quad as well. So she'll have plenty of experience in this. Ava Benson is originally from St. Michael's. She went to Holmes in 2019. So there'll be plenty of experience and in this crew. We'll have crew, I suppose, across the field here. We have Molly Curry in the Queen's boat. She won the intermediate single championship in 2022 and raced under 23 Europeans for GB in the women's coxless quad this year. And we also have Elaine Power in the Neptune crew. So Elaine would have gotten pretty familiar with racing Wally this year. She came third in the intermediate single in the championships as well. So plenty of talent and experience in these crews as we watch them come through the last part of the race. Exciting racing. Also in the Neptune boat we have Ava Clark. She is stroking the boat today. She's quite an experienced athlete. She's been rowing since she was about 14 or 15, and we'll see her sister later today in the under 23 Trinity 4 Niamh Clark, and their cousin Fiona Keller will also be in action in one of the junior crews today. So they haven't spent that much time as a unit together in the Neptune boat, but they're a very strong crew and will be competitive. So certainly a crew to watch out for as we come over the course today.
Great stuff. Yes, 6 boats in this category, and you can see there, if you're watching online, we can see the first boat there from that beautiful drone footage that we're seeing. So that is University Galway Boat Club at NUIG. They are the first crew that were left off. They will be followed in then by Commercial, were left off then, followed by Belfast Boat Club A, Queens, Neptune and Belfast Boat Club B. I recognise a couple of names in the Belfast Boat Club B, both there, Lisa Lamont, Sarah Quinn. They're multidisciplinary rowers there doing the coastal and the flat water, so great to see some crews there that are rowing across the board. So looking at the stream there now, we can see 2 boats now coming into view. So it is that crew from Commercial who are trying to eat into the lead that UGBC NUIG opened up at the start. So about 10 to 15 seconds between them at that start line. So it is literally about trying to just plough into the lead that the first boat gets, then the second boat, then the third, and so on. But great rowing here, and we can see here from this great footage here, but from the drone, you can just see the bends that they have to navigate around, which is quite tough for, a lot of these rowers are used to rowing a 2K straight race where they don't have to worry about bends or navigating too much. They usually, in a regatta would have their own lane, so they're racing side by side, whereas here now today they are all going the same course. They're having to navigate the same corners, and it is much tougher. It's adding certainly an extra element to the sport here today, but we can see that crew from Commercial, Amy Hilliard, Evelyn Flynn, Caroline Shaw and Susie Beast there are really eating into that lead there that University Galway Boat Club NUIG had at the start. So not too much now between them. They are about 21 minutes into this 6-kilometre race now, so they're not too far away from our view here. We are situated at the boat club. Lots of people here watching from here, waiting for the crews to come down towards the finish line now. So you can see here UGBC NUIG still leading ahead of Commercial, but Commercial really working hard here to try and catch up to that lead that Galway had from the start. In that Galway boat we have Aoife Lowe, Shauna Murtagh, Ava Benson and Lauren McCarthy-Steele. I was lucky enough to meet Lauren McCarthy-Steele over in Varese, where she raced at the Under-19 World Championships earlier this year, and she is originally from Skibbereen Rowing Club, lots of experience, and she's now representing UGBC NUIG here today. Ava Benson as well, originally from St. Michael's, so much experience as well from Ava. She raced in the Homes in 2019 and 2022. She was on the Junior Sculling Team 2019, the Senior Sweep Team 2022, winning gold in the women's pair and women's 8. And then in the Champs earlier this year, she won the Club Coxed 4, the Club 8, the Senior 8 and the Intermediate Coxed 4. So much experience in that boat. So we are now 23 minutes into this race, so definitely not too far away from us now at all. I remember Niamh telling me there earlier that I think around 19 minutes people have done this course before. Obviously it depends on the flow and the river conditions, it depends on the level of experience in the boat, but these crews certainly are doing really well here now. We should start to see them now coming into view shortly. We can see there that the crew from Galway are hugging that corner there now as they go around. I suppose, if you do your homework, you'll know which parts of the river to stay to, which to go wide, which to go narrow. So this crew are nice and tight there, hugging the land, trying to take that shorter course around this piece of land that we're seeing before they come towards us here now. So Niamh, we are about 24 minutes into this race now. Can you remember what it took you to finish last year?
I definitely remember last year not being fully sure on when the finish line was, because there were a few people shouting down just at that point now where we see the shot. So yeah, you definitely start gearing up towards the finish. Like, the thing about this race is that you don't necessarily know where you stand. Like, if you're trying to chase down the people in front of you and trying to hold off the people behind you, that's the key thing. But you don't know until everybody has crossed the finish line in your category, where you are. So that's a great shot now coming through under the bridge, and that's definitely a point that we would have marked as well, is you have a good gauge, I suppose, on where you are and how much further you have to go. So that looks like some really nice rowing, nice and clean. Some great shots coming through under the bridge now. So they'll be really digging in now, knowing that they're into the last part of the race, and I'm sure we'll hear some great support from the people that are here on the bank, and we would have heard people last year on the bridge shouting us on, so guaranteed that there'll be people along the bridge cheering them on, and back further at different parts of the course you'll have people out there supporting. So there's a couple of parts of the course that you can tune in and race, but this is some nice tidy rowing from NUIG. It looks really, really clean, so it'll be interesting to see the times and to see how they match up against some of their competition. So we'll see some more of the racing come through behind them and get some good shots there.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful course. Look at all the shots here. You're certainly not going to be too bored out there in the boat for 6 kilometres, because there's so much between the people there that we saw up on the bridge. They're passing some boats there near the jetty there, so it's absolutely such a stunning course. And it's extra beautiful here because it's chilly and there's a bit of a fog, just a slight fog. So it's just making things very picturesque here as we look out onto the river. So the first crew now who took off this morning, they started at 11 a.m. That crew from UGBC NUIG, Aoife Lowe, Shauna Murta, Ava Benson and Lauren McCarthy Steele. So they have held up there now. Of course, these results will have to wait till all boats in the category cross the finish line to get their times before we know where they actually finish. So just because this boat is crossing the finish line in first place does not mean that they will win later on. So it all depends on your time. So it's quite challenging out there because you're really racing against yourself. You just have to go pretty much hard for the whole thing to try and get that fastest time. But beautiful rowing here now as they just pass us here at the boat club, just coming up to that finish line. It is the crew from UGBC NUIG. Excellent racing, beautiful rowing there by the 4 ladies. So next up we should be seeing the next of the crews coming in shortly, and next is Commercial. We have Amy Hilliard, Evelyn Flynn, Caroline Shaw and Susie Beese. They're representing Commercial in the white, blue and green colours. So we should shortly again be seeing this crew coming in, and they will be the second out of 6 boats in this category, the women's senior coxless quad. Again, some great shots here from the drone. Beautiful rowing by all 4 women here. We can see there's a big crowd gathering here at the boat club now, cheering for the crews as they come in towards the finish line. So just coming into the last few hundred meters or so. So we've Commercial, and then there'll be 4 crews after that. So we're still waiting to see Belfast Boat Club A, we have Queens, we have Neptune, and we have Belfast Boat Club B. So 6 crews in this women's senior coxless quad. See their great shots there by Queens now, who are coming through. That is Amelia McAleer, Molly Curry, Eva Wing and Sam McCormack. So they had started in 4th there. They were the 4th boat to take off, but it looks like they have really put in so much work to come in that second spot at the moment. Again, these results, it doesn't go off where you finish or where you cross the finish line. It's all about getting that really good time. So we were thinking that was Commercial there coming in, but it was actually Queens. A lot of experience in that boat. It really showed there.
Yeah, so I think for anybody that's watching it, it can be tough to see the crews on Queens and Commercial certainly look really, really similar. So that's a nice shot of the Neptune boat there. We have Ava Clark in stroke, we have Elaine Power in 3, Jessica Farrell in 2 and Niamh Kilgallen in bow. So they're just coming through, and these are 2 of the crews, as we had said, with Queens and Neptune, that we would have expected to be strong in this field. So Neptune had been led off, they're bow number 5, Queens are bow number 4. So I think we have some strong finishers there with Neptune and Queens having overtaken Commercial and Belfast Boat Club A. So we'll definitely keep you updated in terms of the results as they come in. That's our first 3 finishers of 6. So we're just waiting on the next crews to come up and see what results we have there. So this is a shot of an Enniskillen coxless quad. So we'll just get you updated now as soon as we can in terms of what crew that is. So Enniskillen have a junior coxless squad of Rachel Cullinan, Niamh Cassidy, Laura Turner and Chloe Thompson, and they were led off by number 4, so they are coming through finishing 4th, so that means that they've overtaken some of the senior women's coxless crews as well, so unsurprising to see Enniskillen outperforming well. They're a really, really strong programme, always strong athletes, so that's them just coming up and finishing their race now about 20 metres from the finish line. So from the senior women's race, we're waiting on Commercial, we're waiting on Belfast Boat Club A, Belfast Boat Club B. So the times for NUIG was 19:06.5. We had in Queens, we had 19:20.5. So we will keep you updated and see if any of the other crews had any faster times. We have the time in for Neptune, so we have Neptune Rowing Club at 19:53. So far it's UGBC that is in pole position. So in terms of this race, it can be tough to know where you are. You're, as we said earlier, trying to chase down the crews in front of you. And as we've just seen, we've seen the Enniskillen junior crew come through some of the senior crews. So it's great to get out there. Like no matter what level you're at or what category you're in, you're racing everybody that's out there. There's always a challenger in front and behind you. So there's always something to be focusing on. Always chasing down. So that's a shot of the NUIG crew who are currently in pole position. Had a really, really strong row from the shots that we saw with the drone overhead. It looked like a really tidy and clean row from them. So I think given that we haven't seen the other crews come forward, that we can say that UGBC has won the senior women's coxless event today.
So we're seeing now the next of the crews. I think there's 3 boats in shot there now. We're just figuring out who it is, but it looks like it is Belfast Boat Club B a Belfast Boat Club crew. There is 2 crews in the senior coxless quad, so it looks like it is one of those crews now coming in. And after them, then it looks like it is the commercial crew. So these are the senior coxless quad. Of course, we've already seen UGBC come in 19:06.5. Queens have come in, and now it looks like the next 2 crews in that category are coming in. Great row there as well by Enniskillen Boat Club there in the junior coxless quad, who came in to pass out a lot of those crews. But just at the finish line there now, it is that Belfast Boat Club crew just coming up to finish across that finish line, followed by Commercial, who are really after upping that rate there just to cross that finish line behind Belfast Boat Club. So that is 4 of the 6 senior coxless quads crews now gone through that finish line. We're still waiting on 2 more, Neptune and the other Belfast Boat Club. And then just passing, it is Neptune, the senior coxless quad, Jessica Farrell, Niamh Kilgallen, Elaine Power and Ava Clark.
Okay, so back to the drone, we can see some of the 4s coming through, so we should be expecting some of the senior 4s now. That's a shot of Trinity there. So we have a senior 4 from UGBC, which will have Kira Butler, Evelina Zakarsu-Kate, Raina Praxmerer and Emma Fagan. Following on behind them, we'll have 2 under 23 crews from Trinity. So we'll have Trinity A of Niamh Clark, Imogen Cooney, Juliet Byrne, Alicia O'Neill, and then in the B crew we'll have Rosie Nugent, Sophia Mulvihill, Emma Maloney and Laura Brown. So the 2 under 23 crews in Trinity will be racing each other to see who's the fastest crew today, but they'll certainly be targeting the senior 4 from NUIG to try and chase down. You can see some of the 4s coming into shot there, as well as some of the quads. So that's a coxless quad there we have from Castleconnell, as well as one from Commercial. So that's neck and neck there. We have a Coxless squad from Castleconnell, also from Commercial. They're getting nice and tight with each other just as they come across the finish line. Just watching out to make sure that they don't crash. They're after clashing oars there. These are some of the fours coming up now towards the finish line. We have a four, we have a quad behind them, so they'll both be working off each other, trying to see who can cross that finish line first. That's the NUIG crew, a Coxless crew from Galway. So that's the Senior Fours event. My mistake, that's a Cox 4 there that we have from Galway. Bow number 17. So that is Gwen O'Rourke, Ethel Rose Murray, Lauren Tully and Ellen Ford with Dara Cleary in the Cox's seat. Getting that line nice and tight to the land.
So we have the final results there from the women's Coxless quad there, all crews. There was 6 on the start list, but it was 5 started, so Belfast Boat Club A didn't start this morning. So the winners out of that was University Galway Boat Club NUIG in a time of 19:06.5. Then we had Queen's 19:20.5. We had Neptune 19:53. We had Belfast Boat Club B 21:28.2 and Commercial 22:42.9. So that is all of the women's Coxless quad gone through now, and we've already seen a lot of the junior Coxless quads as well as the Coxless 4s gone through there now. So just waiting for the next crews now to come through. So we have a battle here between NUIG and Trinity. We are on to the 4s here now. So this is the Club 1 Coxed 4. So we have Queens, we have Trinity, we have Galway, NUIG, Belfast Boat Club there. So 4 crews taking part in this race. So we're seeing those crews now just coming up towards that finish line. So that crew from Galway, we have Nell Allison, Eve McMahon, Jane Hillary, Vika Mulrow and coxed by Dara Kremen there. And then the Trinity boat, we have Jane Prendergast, we have Katie Kavanagh, Rachel Alexander, Elizabeth Dorr and Maeve Hannah. So I hope you can hear the screams here and the support from the people here at the boat club as the crews just come up towards that finish line. That is that crew from UGBC NUIG, followed in by Trinity. Yeah. And quickly behind them, just going up the course there now, the next of the boats are starting to come in. So we are still on the 4s here at the moment. Beautiful shots there. 3 boats just after going through that bridge there now as they head for the kind of last stretch now before they reach the finish line here at the boat club.
That looks like the crew from Belfast. So in the bow we have Emily Sampson Barnes, we have Victoria Coulter in 2, Sarah Davison 3, and stroke in the boat we have Emily Jordan and the cox Joanna Walsh. So they'll be winding up now as they head towards the finish. That's a nice shot there of Belfast Boat Club, which should be bow number 21. So these are competing in the Coxed 4 event, Club 1. You can see everybody here, each crew will be trying to catch the crew in front of them and trying to hold off the crew behind them, as they know that it's all about the time. That's what matters. So if you can get closest to your nearest competitor and chase them down, you know that you'll have put in a good effort and hopefully have a quicker time than them. It's busy here now at the slip as all the crews are coming in. So we're seeing some of the junior quads that have finished the race. Yeah, that's bow number 21, which is the Belfast Boat Club. you can see the different layers that people are wearing today. So we have long tops and leggings on in this crew, wanting to make sure that they're plenty warm. You can get cold sometimes waiting up at the top. As we mentioned earlier, there's over 50 crews today, so while you're waiting up there at the top, you want to make sure that you're not getting too cold. But you can see other people are racing in. There we have it, a one piece and a t-shirt. So that's a commercial crew coming through. So that's a commercial junior crew of Alva Conlon, Rebecca Anderson, Ruby Sweeney, Isabel Murphy, coxed by Eva Wall. They probably haven't been sweep rowing for that long, getting good experience and a good race under their belt, and now they are followed by St Michael's, who are their direct competitors in this. So we have Rachel Connolly, Abigail Cullinan, Leisha Phillips, Ella Page, coxed by Kathy Madden. All four of these girls raced in the J18 8 last year at the championships and missed out by 5 seconds in winning championships to Enniskillen, who are our hosts today. So we'll get the results into you quickly. Between Commercial and St Michael's, they're direct competitors, so we should be able to give you those results soon.
Yes, we have some results in from the junior coxes quad earlier. So as it stands, Castleconnell BC came in a time of 20:05.2. Enniskillen Royal Boat Club 20:33.3. Methodist Boat Club 20:52.2. Commercial Rowing Club A 21:11.8. Neptune 21:30.3. And we're just awaiting the final time for Commercial Rowing Club B. So we are absolutely flying through these. I actually can't quite believe me of how quick the boats are coming. They're coming super quick. So we seem to be onto the Club 2 Cox 4 now at the moment. We can see 3 boats there in shot. So we have Commercial A, and we have a quad as well coming in the middle of them. So that is Queens there, looking nice and steady as they come towards that last stretch. So that is the crew of in the Club 2 Cox quad. We have Sophie Ellen Tracy, with Isabel Graham, Sophie Smith, and stroked there by Megan McDermott. So they were from Queen's University Boat Club. And then coming in nearly side by side now as they head towards that finish line, it is the crew from Commercial. So
that looks like we have a commercial quad in the mix there as well, as the 2 commercial crews go head to head. So we have the Cox 4, and it looks like we have a Cox quad as well, so both in the Club 2 category, so they're pushing off each other. It looks like the commercial crew the quad might think they're finished. There we have Trinity behind them in a Cox 4. So the Trinity crew is Genevieve MacDonald, Quiva Corcoran, Marie Cormacan, Rose Davy Lindley, coxed by Myrna Kochman. So we'll get you the results when we can. In terms of the 4s, we still have some out in the course. So this is UGBC. So we'll just try and find out which. That's bow number 29. So that's the A crew from UG. So we have Mia Fox, Stephanie McLaughlin, Keelan Hart, Lucy Kalali, and DJ Boulder in the Cox's seat. So we have 5 crews in this event of the Club 2 Cox 4. That's a nice overhead shot of UG. They'll be winding it up now as they head towards the finish line. You can see them driving for that line, just across the finish line. You can see the crews taking in their boats now, and we're waiting for some more crews to come across the line. There we have an overhead shot of an Enniskillen crew. So that'll be a junior Cox 4. So in the J18B, that'll be a J16 Cox quad is coming up later as well. Enniskillen known for the strong program that they have. So you can hear the crowds shouting as they're driving for the finish line.
So we have 57 crews here in the women's races across 17 categories, and as you can tell, they are all kind of coming in at different times there now. So we're seeing fours and we're seeing quads and we're seeing coxed and coxes all coming in around similar times there now. So on a screen now we are seeing a crew there. It looks like it is a coxed 4 from Commercial. They're just coming towards that final stretch there now. It is Commercial B. We have the crew of Lena Mont, Alison Walker, Fanula Godwin, Margaret McCarthy, and Cox there by Sarah Lacani there. So they are just coming up towards that finish line in that Coxed 4. It is the Club 2 event. So great finish there by Commercial B.
So I know definitely in the women's programme in Commercial last year they had lots of novices, so I'd say this is them stepping up to now race in the Club 2 category. Coxed by Sarah, she'll have plenty of experience. She's been involved in rowing for quite some time and is originally from Canada, studying in RCSI now. Always been involved in rowing. So we have a crew from St. Michael's here. It looks like a junior crew in the Cox 4. Just across the finish line. Now we have an Enniskillen coxless quad. They're going head to head, trying to push off each other and see who can come across the finish line first. You can hear the shouting from the finish line now as everyone's urging the crews across the finish line. Nice tidy rowing from Enniskillen. It looks like this is the J18B coxless quad. So bow number 34 behind them is Carrick Rowing Club. We have Sarah O'Leary, Erin McCauley, Lisa McGovern and Leah McLaughlin. So behind them would be the Enniskillen A would have been led off behind them, but looks like they finished in front of them. So that crew had Zara Welsh, Collins Grace, Erin Carty and Hannah Armstrong. So Enniskillen would have been chasing them down throughout the course. So now we have bow number 36 with Neptune, Mia Crotty, Vanessa Gillespie, Roisin Gilligan and Freya Reddington. So they'll be working to try and hold off that Enniskillen crew behind them. Bow number 37, you can see them in the shot now. The Enniskillen B crew has Naomi Robinson, Kathleen Kelly, Jessica Thompson and Annie Fowler. So you can hear the crowds shouting them on as Neptune are trying to hold off that Enniskillen crew as they head towards the finish line, knowing that every second counts when it comes to the final results. So some of these girls in the Neptune crew only started rowing last year, getting some good racing under their belt. So there we have Enniskillen and Castleconnell racing side by side. So this is a coxed event. This is a J16 coxed quad. In Castleconnell, they were led off as bow number 38. Lorna McNamara, Katie Mulready, Sybil Neil Lahertig, Anna Hickey and Aoife Bowen in the cox's seat.
Right up to the very end, Cox, please. Right,
So we're just seeing the next of the boats coming in. Two boats now quite close to each other. It is the J16 coxed quad. Two crews coming in there now. So it looks like it is Commercial and Carrick. So both clubs have two boats A and B in this category. So we're just waiting to get confirmation from the bow numbers to see who is who here now. But great racing here. You're seeing the boat there on the left as you're looking at the screen, just having to correct a little bit to make sure they go around that bend a little bit. So they're coming across the course a little bit now towards Commercial. But the two crews now on their final stretch here in this 6 kilometre race. So I think we have some results in.
Yeah, so we've got results of some of the first events that were led off today. So the winners of the senior coxless quad are UGBC in a time of 19:06.5. We then have Queens behind them in 19:20.5, followed by Neptune Boat Club, who finished in third, 19:53, so keeping their position from last year. We have Belfast Boat Club B behind them in 21:28, followed by Commercial Rowing Club 22:42, and then, as we said, Belfast Boat Club A did not start. In the J18 coxless quad, the winners today are Castleconnell Boat Club, finishing at a time of 20.5. This will be faster than some of the senior crews, so a really, really good race from Castleconnell. They held off Enniskillen Boat Club, who know this river really, really well. So great performance from Castleconnell and Enniskillen. Enniskillen finished in second in a time of 20.33, followed by Methody Boat Club in 20:52. Followed by Commercial A 21:11, Neptune Rowing Club in 21:30, and Commercial Boat Club B in 22:39. Then the only competitors in the coxless senior 4 was NUIG. They finished in 19:55, a strong performance from them. Then in the under 23 event, we had the under 23 coxless 4 of DULBC A and DULBC B. So the two Trinity crews going head to head. In those crews we had Niamh Clark, Imogen Cooney, Juliette Byrne and Alicia O'Neill. So judging by these results, that's the crew that won, followed by the B crew of Rosie Nugent, Sophia Mulville, Emma Maloney and Laura Brown. So really competitive racing from the two Trinity crews. In the women's intermediate Cox 4, we had Trinity winning at a time of 20:04, and we had NUIG in a time of 20:24. The Club 1 Cox 4, Queens are the winners in a time of 20:45. NUIG followed them in second place with 21 minutes flat. DULBC, the Trinity crew, finishing in 21:14, and then Belfast Boat Club behind them in 22:22. In the women's J18 Cox 4, we have St Michael's finishing in a time of 21:10, so they're the winners of that event today, followed by Commercial Rowing Club in 22:10. In the Club 2 Coxed Quad, we have Queens in a winning time of 21:42, followed by Commercial Rowing Club in a time of 22:44. Then we have the Cox Club 4, the Club 2 event. We have Commercial Rowing Club are the winners today in 21:29, followed by Trinity in 21:37, followed by NUIG A in 21:47, and then Commercial Boat Club in 23:30. So UGC BCB didn't start the race. In the women's J18 B Coxed 4, we have Enniskillen winning at a time of 22:13, followed by St Michael's in 22:48. So we saw that race coming through a while ago, where they would have been racing head to head and trying to be the first across that line. In the Coxless J18 B event, we have Enniskillen Boat Club A in winning in 22:21, followed by the Enniskillen B crew in 22:37. So some competitive racing from the two crews there, followed by Neptune Rowing Club in 22:40, followed by Carrick in a time of 23:21. So they're the updates that we have now. We can see a Neptune crew coming out. So in the 3 seat of the Neptune crew, we can see Fiona Keller. She is the cousin of Ava Clark and Niamh Clark. So something that runs in the family. We can see all the rowing. We also have Maeve McLaughlin, Aoife Clark and Keelan Dooley in that boat, with Quiva Maddox coxing them today.
Great racing there. Now we've seen quite a few categories come through that finish line there. Now we're seeing the junior 15 coxed quads there coming through the finish line there now. So that was the Neptune Rowing Club crew, the junior 15 coxed quad that we saw there coming up. So now we're seeing the rest of that category, the junior 15 coxed quads coming through. There was 6 boats in that category. They will be followed in by the junior 14 coxed quads, and then we will be on to some of the masters categories. So we are flying through all these categories here now, and we are just seeing the crew from St Michael's Rowing Club. We have Lucy Hartigan, Ali Conlon, we have Madeline Horan, Sarah O'Donnell, coxed by Abby Fitzgibbon. So that is the Junior 15 coxed quad there in that yellow boat that is standing out on the water here amongst everyone else. So they're just after coming through, and we are seeing on our screens now the next of those coxed quads. And it is the local crew of Enniskillen. We have 2 crews, A and B. It looks like it is the B crew of... We have Maeve Murphy, Daisy O'Hare, Evie McGarry, Kate Huddleston, coxed by Erne Trimble. So I'm sure they have a lot of experience rowing on the river here. Really see, you know, having that experience on your own home water really does stand to these crews. So that is that Enniskillen B crew just coming through in the Junior 15 coxed quad. Looking back up the river now, and we're seeing the next of the boats coming through. We are seeing some 4s now. Sorry, it is still the quads. So it is, we are still on the coxed quads here at the moment. And it is another crew from Enniskillen here. So another local crew in the coxed quads, followed by, we can see the yellow boat here again from St. Michael's. We can see again, or we can hear all the supporters here, the local supporters coming in, shouting for their crews. We can see a couple of Enniskillen crews out there on the water at the moment. So coming to the finish line now, that was the local crew from Enniskillen Royal Boat Club. And that is followed in then by St. Michael's Rowing Club in the coxed quad category.
It's a super good experience for the junior crews today. So we're seeing entries from junior 14, junior 15, junior 16 right up to J18. So really good racing. As we said, you know, it's a tough course to steer, so we'll have the coxes out there doing that job, and in some of the coxless crafts we'll have people in different seats. It's not always the person in the bow seat. I know in the Neptune Senior Quad today it was Ava Clark steering from the stroke seat, but it's a really good event and a good course for people to get experience. When it comes to the junior crews, like this could be some of their first races today, so great to see them all out racing, and they'll be certainly looking up to the senior crews and the adult crews as the role models, and some of the older crews in the school as well. So we can see bow number 52 now from Enniskillen. It's Enniskillen B. We have Tori Davis, Brooke Davis, Abby Johnston, Emily Black and Caitlin Fee. So I think it's reasonable to guess that Tori and Brooke are either sisters or cousins, one or the other. So they're in the J14 coxed quad. Coming through to the finish line, 6 kilometres certainly feels long to anybody that's racing that course, but certainly for the junior crews, great to get out and get that racing experience, and they're looking pretty tidy here. People cheering them on as they come to the finish line now. And this is the crew from St. Michael's behind them. So we have St. Michael's bow number 51. We have Amy Sheehan, Robin Marley, Ada Hare, Clodagh Phillips and Emily Shanahan with the white blades. You can see from Enniskillen the rate was slightly higher. St. Michael's are taking this a little bit of a lower rate, but getting the work done, just crossing the finish line.
Yeah, we're seeing the last of the crews now, so we're on to bow numbers 51 and 52 there. We saw out of 57 entries here today. So that was the Junior 14 coxed quad there. 2 local crews, Enniskillen Royal Boat Club A and B, as well as St. Michael's there. Big representation from St. Michael's and all the clubs that have travelled here to Enniskillen here today.
Girls, listen.
So we're just waiting now for the final few crews to come through.
Straight onto the trailer for the moment, okay?
We will be on it to the Masters Coxless Quad. We have the Masters Coxed 4 and the Novice Coxed Quad still to come. We're seeing shots there of the local crew here from Enniskillen Royal Boat Club there, who are just coming in off the water.
So I know you mentioned, Niamh, earlier that you've been involved in coastal. So when did you actually start coastal rowing yourself?
So I started when I was 8 years old, kind of traditional coastal style in timber boats, with 4 people in the boat, 1 cox, and then that kind of transitioned into offshore rowing. I started back in 2017, so that's when I really got into sculling, and I've been lucky enough to go to a few world and European championships, competing in the scull and in the quad. Did a little bit of river rowing as well, with Skibbereen and with CIT when I went to college there as well. So I don't think I ever did a 6k though in a river boat at all. It was only ever the 2k straight races, so I'm sure this is very different for the rowers out there today. Niamh, yourself, you have lots of experience in rowing as well, don't you?
Yeah, I actually would have joined rowing a little bit later, so I would have started rowing when I was 22. But I would have been racing this type of boat, and I suppose on this course itself as well. So yeah, certainly a race that I really enjoyed last year. So in the shot now, you can see the crew of bow number 43. So that is the crew from Castleconnell Boat Club, which was Rose Cunningham, Abby Flynn, Ava Leahy, Amy Roberts and Emily Sweeney O'Halloran coxing them. So we're just waiting for the Masters crews, as you mentioned, to come up, as well as the novice racing that's happening today. So in terms of the novice event, we have a Cox Novice Quad from Belfast Rowing Club today. We have Angeliki Charinia, we have Niamh McCormack, Laura Wilson, Jordan Reid, Cox by Thomas McCautry. So in terms of that, it's great to see a novice crew out. They are the only novice crew that we have racing the course today, but we can be sure that the universities are certainly gearing up to have their crews racing and getting some experience later in the year or possibly early next year. It's good certainly for the Belfast Rowing Club to have their athletes out and gaining that experience in terms of novice rowing. So these will be adult beginners, and they'll probably have begun rowing, certainly if they're in university, usually anyway in September. Sometimes in the clubs you'll see people start a little bit sooner, so it'll be the first year that they are experiencing some racing. So just in for results, we have the J15 Coxed Quad. So in first position we have Methody A finishing in a time of 21, followed by Neptune Rowing Club in 22:03, followed by St Michael's in third, 22:25, Enniskillen Boat Club B 22:29, Enniskillen A in 23:25, and Methody B in 23:28. So some good racing and great experience for those J15s. In the J14 Cox Squad, we have St Michael's in 22:05, Enniskillen A in 22:11, and we have Enniskillen B in 22:51. So this looks like some of the Masters crews that we have coming up now, followed by the launch. So this will be the last boat to finish the course today. Looks like the Cox 4. So that would be the Cox 4 from Belfast Boat Club, where we have Mary Wells, Shauna Hearn, Rosemary Bell, Anne Lockwood and Jackie Penman in the Cox's seat. So now we can see a Masters Coxed Quad, which looks like it's lagging. Bow number 54, Siobhan Toland, Nikki Ann Stanley, Barbara Dennis and Suzanne McCoy in the stroke seat. Great to see such a range of age groups involved in the sport. So as we said, we have those J14 crews that are, probably just new to the sport, getting started in rowing, probably inspired by lots of the great role models that we've had in rowing in Ireland in recent years. So we've had some really, really good results on the international stage with our Olympic bronze, as well as some really good results in European Championships, World Championships, across senior level and also under 23 level, right up to that Masters category, where it looks like we have a Masters F crew in Belfast Boat Club, so we could have people right up to mid-60s competing today. So a great event, great to see such a range of ages, and for people, I suppose, that you can be involved in the sport for as long as you want. As I mentioned, I started when I was 22. It's a bit different to when you started, Niamh, at 8 years old.
It was a little bit different. I think that is great about the sport. We see kids coming through, girls in school starting into rowing. It's huge in college. As you said, when you go to university, it's just really, really big. and then we sometimes see a little bit of a fall off, you know, when people go out to the working world, but it's such a great sport that people come back to it, and we see them competing in masters categories, you know, in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. It's amazing to see, especially like the World Masters regattas, to see the Irish doing so well at it. So it's such a sport that you can continue doing right throughout your life, I think. And I think we've seen all the boats come through there now. The women's novice coxed quad there, Belfast Rowing Club, Angelica Sharenia, Niamh McCormack, Laura Wilson, Jordan Reid Cox there by Thomas McCrotty there in that women's novice coxed quad.
I suppose something that's interesting from a Masters perspective as well is that women's rowing is still relatively new. You know, in the last 30 to 40 years, you'll see, you know, clubs introducing women's rowing. So we're really only seeing the Masters women start to get involved and get out there now. So it's great to see so many you know, out racing today, and I know throughout the year we see lots of Masters women's crews racing, but I think it's something that we'll see grow over the next few years, you know, as people that were involved during, you know, at junior level or during college and university, you know, through their teenage years or early 20s. As you mentioned, people sometimes take a break when they get out into the working world, but I think over the next few years we'll see a new era of people come through and start to get back involved in Masters rowing, because it's certainly something that people really enjoy, getting out on the water at the weekends. And I suppose something in women's Masters rowing that we're seeing is there's lots of people taking it up as adults. Like we're seeing parents get involved when their kids are out rowing. They're like, well, I want to go and have a go at that as well. So we're seeing on the women's side where you know, maybe people didn't row as a child or as a young adult, but they're trying the sport in their 50s and 60s and getting out there and doing it. So yeah, it's something I suppose worth mentioning, that it's still relatively new from the women's side of things. You know, I know that in women's rowing there's some clubs that only allowed women to row in late 80s, early 90s. So, you know, that's not really that long ago, only 30 years, but something that we'll see evolve over the next few years. In terms of the women's Masters coxless quad, we have the winners in a time of 22:19. That's Portora Boat Club, the A crew. Then we have the Portora B crew in a time of 25:38, followed by Lagin in a time of 26:22. And the novices from Belfast Rowing Club had finished in a time of 24:20, so congratulations to them today. Possibly their first race, we'll have to check in with them and see if it was, but this early in the season in November, you know, you don't often see many novice crews out racing, so congratulations to them, a really good effort from them. And we look forward to seeing some more novices racing as the season continues. We'll certainly see some possibly at you know, the Erne race in the spring. We know that we'll have Trinity and UCD racing in March at Colours boat races, followed by the University Championships, which will be in April or May. So the regatta season will kick off in Neptune in early April, and we'll see all the beginner rowers, the novices, coming out to get their race experience then. So yeah, a good race today anyway. Chilly, but everyone's smiling. There's no rain, no wind. And it looks like we have a lot of happy faces. We've a few people nearby and an Enniskillen crew that just found out that they've won their event.
It's great. We were just seeing shots there of the St. Michael's Junior Coxed quad there. They were looking very excited there after hearing they were after performing very well here in Enniskillen on the 6-kilometre course. So I think we are going to be chatting to a few of the competitors from today to see how they got on, to see how they navigated the course. So it'll be great to hear the experience now. As Niamh said there, lots of happy faces around, people celebrating. It's such a great achievement coming here on a Saturday morning, on a really cold Saturday morning, to be able to go out there on the water and manage 6 kilometres there. You know, a lot of crews having to navigate themselves without a cox. It's such a great sense of achievement, no matter where you finish in the race. To be able to come here and do an event like this is absolutely amazing, and everybody, I'm sure, is feeling that sense of achievement now as they come off the water now. You can see them putting on their layers now, trying to warm up, but I'm sure the heart rates and the body temperatures are up nice and high after that 6 kilometre nice long race here on the river here in Enniskillen.
There's fine if you're happy enough.
So we are here with the J18B winners. So we have the Enniskillen A crew. Tell us, how was it out there today? So you were out racing some of your teammates. How was that?
Oh, it was.
So how happy are you that you were part of the winning crew today? And you're part of the club that hosts the event. So how great is it to have so many people here competing today? Well, congratulations to you all. A great result and lots of experience as you move up into J18B. Okay, so we have another member joining us. Hannah, tell us about your race. Okay, good stuff. Well, congratulations, girls, and definitely go and enjoy the win today. This is still on the screen. Oh my Lord bless. Are we ready to? Oh, you're So we stand good and close. We want to stand good and close so that we can hear on the microphone, okay? The camera's there.
So I need you all to come up the steps there.
Yeah.
Yes, come on, Janice, go on.
Come on around.
Quad or four?
We're four.
So I can't see you behind, so you'll have to pull in.
I think so. Okay, so we're welcoming Portora today. Tell us, how was the race out there?
The race was very good. We were very pleased. Conditions were a lot better than we had anticipated, and there was a very strong flow under the bridge. But we thanks to our really good cox, Rory Farraher, we went through effortlessly. So a very good race, and we were more than happy with our performance.
Good stuff. And I suppose it's great to see some of the Masters crews out racing today. So when did you start racing?
Probably about 3 years ago, with little breaks in between. My husband rode for about 31 of those, but afraid I was looking after the children, so I got my chance in the last few years. So this morning is the first time we've rode together and the first time we got into that boat, so I think we did great.
Very good, congratulations. And what about you? When did you start rowing?
I started rowing about 6 years ago when the club was started. The club was started from scratch about 6 years ago. The Masters ladies got an opportunity, and most of us were novices at that stage, and we had a few experienced rowers who helped us and who were very patient, and a few very patient coaches as well. And we're glad that we've got as far as this, and we're very happy rowing. So there you are.
And will we see out racing again throughout the season?
Definitely. Probably in the next month or so, probably another couple of races, but definitely we'll be out again because it was a brilliant experience. Even though we hadn't trained together as in this boat, it's the first time I've been in this type of boat, and I would do it again. It's brilliant.
And for anyone that might be watching and interested in trying rowing and coming to the sport as a new person, what would your advice be?
Oh, absolutely. Any opportunity to get to take up rowing, I would highly recommend it. It's fantastic for all aspects of your life, physical and mental, and getting out and meeting people and having good friends and good fun. Brilliant.
Good stuff. Well, you're starting to look a little bit blue, so congratulations today. We'll let you go and get some warm clothes on. Well done. So we are going to be we're going to be joined with Ciara. Ciara, you're from Rowing Ireland. Tell us a little bit about the initiative and the reason that we have this live stream today.
So I'm the Women in Sport Officer at Rowing Ireland, and this is all thanks to Sport Ireland's Women in Sport streaming grant that came out earlier in the summer. So we applied because we knew something like this would be really great for girls and women to see what's going on here today. Everyone from teenage girls to Masters women racing and doing their best. So yeah, we were successful with that grant, and in collaboration with Her Sport, which we're delighted to work with, we've had a live stream of the racing today.
Yeah, something that's definitely really exciting, and as we talked about it when the racing was happening, you know, we've seen from junior 14 crews right up to the Masters, which we've chatted with some of them there. So it's great to see it across the board. And then we have some of the senior athletes where we had the likes of Molly Curry racing today, who won the intermediate single championship last year. So a huge range of experience.
Huge range of experience, and that's exactly what we wanted, because girls and women need role models of all kinds, you know, whether that's someone who's just recreationally rowing, is at the top end, super competitive, you know, they need to see someone that they can aspire to be at whatever life stage that is. So yeah, everyone is a role model here today, you know.
Absolutely, and I think having the live stream is certainly something we can be proud of, and a great success today. We've had some good weather, so it's something in rowing that we've gotten used to where events to be cancelled, but it's not windy. It is a bit cold, but the conditions today are suitable.
Oh, totally. I've got my my rainproof pants there in my handbag, but thankfully they've stayed in there. We've just got our hands in our pockets because we're a small bit chilly. We haven't done as much rowing as everyone else, but perfect conditions and an excellently well run event. So we've had amazing support from Enniskillen Royal Grammar School, so big thank you to them. And great day out for everyone, and so nice that everyone at home can watch it and see all the excellent girls and women. So yeah, great.
So I think we'll stay tuned and try grab some more of the winners so we can chat to them about their race today.
Thanks very much, Niamh.
Up on the next step as well, that'd be great. So, Cox's pod, yeah. Come on, nice. Okay, so now we're joined by the Queen's Cox's Quad. So you raced in the senior event today?
Yeah. It was really good. Yeah, we came second. Yeah, very happy with it. Yeah.
And is it your first time racing Erne Force Head?
No, I've raced when I was at school at it as well. But it was really horrible conditions that year. So this year it was a lot nicer.
Yeah, we've definitely been blessed by some good weather, but a really, really good result coming in second place. So NUIG the winners today and Queen's in second place.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I'm very happy with our placement. Yeah, sorry.
We're all a bit shy today, are we? So tell us, what was it like on the course out there?
Oh, it was such fast conditions. Like, we were seeing splits that we don't think we've ever seen before, and it was just such a fast race for everyone, really. Like, we came off and the boys were helping us off with the boat, and they were like, "Oh, you are so speedy!" So excited to stick around, cheer the boys on, and see what kind of times they can get as well.
And what will you be targeting for the rest of the season? So we're obviously in head season now, and we moving towards regattas in April. What is on the agenda this year?
As a Northern Irish club, box and would be a very big hitter for us. So hopefully do really well. British University Championships last year, we were the third university in the UK. So really excited to build on that. We got a lot of athletes trialling and all this year. So really just get a good load of mileage in over the winter time and see what the club can do. Very excited for Queen's Ladies, yeah.
Very good. So you're obviously out sculling today. Will that be something that you're doing for the rest of the year, or will we see you sweep rowing as well?
I normally just do sculling, but other girls might do some more sweeping. Sculling is the main thing would do.
And you started in Queen's this year then, if you were rowing as a junior before?
It's my third year at Queen's. So I've rowed at Crow and Grammar before as a junior, and then it's my third year at Queen's, and yeah, it's really good. It's nice being part of the ladies club.
Very good. Well, congratulations on your second place finish. A good result, a good start to the season. So we'll catch up with you at some point later in the year.
That's great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice.
right there
We good to
somewhere.
go?
Good to go, yeah.
So I'm joined by Derek Holland. Derek, you have been instrumental in the organisation of the event today.
Yeah, it's been, we're just delighted to get it off with no hitches so far. The weather's been good. The girls and the ladies seem to have a great race this morning. Haven't heard anybody disappointed with how things went, so yeah, very pleased so far.
And you're involved in coaching some of those crews that we would have seen out today, so the crews from Enniskillen.
Yeah, do you know, I haven't seen too many of the times because I've been running around organising, but I think some of them quite well. Some of them maybe a little bit disappointed, but it's only November, and we'll push on anyway in the next couple of weeks and see what happens.
And you've a really strong programme here. You know, Enniskillen are always crews that people are watching out for, so it's a good programme that you have going, and you can see the depth in numbers that you have as well. Yeah, well,
listen, we've great numbers. We've built a great club environment here over the last number of years. We've great coaches helping me, and we're all in it together, just helping each other to make sure that the kids get as much out of the sport that they possibly can. So this year we have our biggest numbers, just slightly bigger than last year, which we've about 140 competitive rowers, which is quite a lot. Unfortunately, we can't take any more. We just wouldn't be able to cope and do a good program. But you know, we've never turned anybody away from the club. If they want to leave, we just let them decide that themselves. The kids are just so committed to trying to do well for themselves, really. So yeah, it's been a good few years. I'm just trying to build again after COVID and see where it takes us.
Well, you mightn't have seen some of the girls after the racing today, but we certainly did, and there's a lot of smiling faces. So some really, really good results, and congratulations on running the event. Thanks for supporting us and being here, and we'll let you get back to organising the rest of the racing.
Yeah, no, that's great. And listen, we're absolutely delighted to have you guys here. Rowing needs this type of stuff, and certainly, you know, we run a big Eights Head of the River in March. And be delighted to have you guys back anytime, just to get the sport up and running and get a bit more publicity for the amount of time and effort that the people put in, but especially from a coaching point of view for the kids that I coach, that they get some coverage like this is always great for them. So yeah, so thanks very much for everything that you've done. It's great. Absolutely,
no, we're delighted to be here, and fingers crossed we'll be able to come back again. We'll have to chat with Rowing Ireland and Sport Ireland and see what can be done. But thanks a million, and good luck with the rest of the day. That's great. Are joined by St. Michael's. So you girls were in a Cox 4 today. Tell me, how did the race go?
It went pretty well. We started off strong and tried to keep that throughout the race. And yeah, it went good.
And conditions were good?
Yeah, they were.
Did you have some tough competition out there?
I think so.
I think everyone's a bit shy. Okay, so tell me, when did you start rowing?
2018.
And do you like it?
Yeah.
So we had some good conditions. It's not too windy, not wet, a little bit chilly.
Yeah, it was very cold.
And what other events will you be racing this year?
Hopefully an 8 and pair and a 4.
So focusing on sweep rowing then?
Yeah, looks like it from now. We don't know yet though. Depends.
Good stuff. And I suppose, how many is in the junior women's group this year?
There'll be around like 10, I think.
And when did you start rowing?
2017.
So you're rowing for about 5 years now? And do you enjoy the sport?
Yeah.
Tough to balance with school?
Yeah, very tough.
Very good. So congratulations, girls, on your racing today. We'll look out for you throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah. Great. That's
Okay, good stuff. Well done. All right, so we're joined by the J15 Cox squad from Neptune. How did the race go today?
Good, to be on really well.
Yeah. Enjoyed the race out there, Fina?
Yeah, it was great crack.
And what was the competition like?
It was quite tough. We came second, so we were pretty happy with that.
Good stuff. And I know you've all been rowing for a little bit now, all getting used to rowing together. How's that going?
Yeah, it's going really well. I think this quad works really well together.
Good stuff. We've definitely watched you develop over, I think, the last year. How did you find the race out there?
It was quite fun, but some parts were quite hard at times when racing.
It's longer than the 2K that you're kind of used to racing, this 6 kilometre course, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a bit longer than we normally race.
And how is the training going this year?
Yeah, it's going really well. We do 2 land sessions a week and then 2 water sessions. So yeah, it's going really well.
Very good. And we'll have Fina starting with her sport on Monday for a TY Rick experience, won't we?
Yeah, I can't wait.
You can be behind the camera next time. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
Very good. And Aoife, you're all used to racing in singles and in doubles as well, so it's great to come out and race the quad.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great fun.
Okay, good stuff. Well done, girls. And sure, look, we'll be watching you over the rest of the season. And Fina, we'll see you on Monday. So we're joined by some more of the St. Michael's athletes today. So you're in the J14 crew. So you're racing the quad today?
Yeah.
And how did it go for you?
We went really well actually. We won, so it was really good.
Oh, congratulations. That's a good result. So how long have you been rowing for?
3 seasons, so about 2 years roughly.
Good stuff. And was it chilly out there today?
Baltic. She was shivering the whole way down.
So it's to try and get down as quickly as you can so you can put on all those layers?
Exactly. Yeah.
Very good. And how did you find the race today?
It was good. There's a big turn at one stage where you just flew around the corner. It was very fun actually.
And was it your first time racing this course?
No, second time. I was at the Erne in March.
Very good. And in terms of the rest of the season, what can we expect from St. Michael's?
Well, I don't know. We'll try our best. Lots of training. Yeah, hopefully more of the same. Yeah. Yeah.
Very good. And what about the competition out there? Was it tough?
It was. We didn't win by much, but we still won, which is, I guess, good. We'll take it. We'll take it. A win is a win.
All right, good stuff. Well, congratulations, girls. We'll be looking out for you on the rest of the season. Well done. Okay, so we're joined now by some of the athletes from Castleconnell. So what event were you racing today?
J18 quad.
And how did it go for you?
Yeah, I think it went really well. We pushed really hard for the whole thing, and I think we were really happy with our time.
So in the J18 quad, was it coxless?
Yeah, it was coxless.
Who was the lucky person that got to do the steering? And how did it go?
It went really well, actually, surprisingly.
So we'll have a couple of people tuning in today that maybe haven't done any rowing before. So explain to them a little bit how the steering goes. So you have your back turned and you have to throw your head over your shoulder to get that steering done.
Just every 2 or 3 strokes, you just look over your shoulder, and there's a little contraption connected to your foot and your shoe that's connected to the tiller to help you steer.
And did the steering go okay?
Yeah, it went pretty well.
Everybody echoes that? Yeah, very good. Was anybody else going to put themselves forward to do some steering?
So good. We were just giving her words of affirmation the whole time.
Very good. And what other events have you racing this season?
The women's 4, and that's kind of it really. The quad and the 4 we've been focusing on.
Very good. And when did you start rowing?
I started rowing in first year, so 5 years ago.
And still enjoying it?
Yeah, gonna keep going on with it.
Very good. And if you started in first year, will we be looking towards rowing maybe when you're working or if you're in college?
Hopefully I'm going to be rowing with UL in college. It's my aim.
Very good, so we better let them know anyway. All right, well, thanks a million for chatting to us today, girls. Congratulations. So that's it today from the women's racing at Erne. Thank you to everybody that joined us. You'll be able to catch the action on the YouTube channel on Her Sport if you missed some of the racing today, and there's plenty of interviews to go with it. So congratulations to all the athletes that competed, and also to Enniskillen Boat Club for hosting us today. Thank you.